Hi everyone, I have a skirt here that I want to demonstrate to you how I'm going to make the pattern. It's a yoke skirt and it has no waistband. It has a side seam zipper. That's a side seam zipper. And I'm going to demonstrate to you how I go about making this pattern. Okay? So there are two methods to this skirt. First method, I can do the pivot method, or I could do the closing the dart and slashing the end method. So I'm going to start off first with the pivot method of making this dart. So I need to get a line here, all right, for my center front or center back, because that's what I'm going to use as my guide to trace. Okay, so I have the center front here. I'm going to use this mark here going down literally 6 inches from my sloper, so because this is a sloper, so 6 inches down I'm going to have a line. So I'm marking here, giving it 6 inches down, which is going to be my line right here. All right, and I'm lining it up. So I'm lining this up, which is going to be my center front. I can put my CF center front right here. And this is a sloper, so it doesn't have any side seam attached, or seam allowance attached, I should say, not side seam, seam allowance at the side attached. I'm going to trace up to the dart opening, all right, and then I'm going to put my pointer here, my hole at the end, the tip of the dart, and I'm going to swing it around to close that dart like this. Okay, remove that, and I'm going to trace out the rest of the pattern. So this is one method of doing it. Okay, you have your line there. Now what you can do also, another thing that you can do, you can trace up to that line underneath, and I'm going to do that just to show you. All right, so I'm placing my tracing paper here, and I am tracing up to that line that I have there. Okay, and I can literally put back my hole here and go around back to here, line it up, right, and slide my tracing paper underneath some more and trace the rest of this line up to where the dart is. You notice there's going to be an opening there, so this is the center front. All right, and this part wasn't traced out properly, so I'm going to just make sure I have that. Okay, this do happen sometimes. All right, so I have my mark here. What you can do now is use your hip curve and just simply highlight the tracing mark that you have. All right, and this is the front. So this is the pivot method, and what I'm going to do next, I am going to fold along the edge of this paper right here, just like this. Now remember that I told you that this didn't have any seam allowance, so what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to add my seam allowance to this. So I'm going to add my seam allowance. Because I'm not using any waist a band on this or so, I am going to go up 1 inch from the sloper. If I had the actual skirt pattern, then I would have gone up 1/2 inch. That is enough, because then my seam allowance there is just 1/4 inch. So I'll go up 1 inch first, and then come back down to 1/4 inch because I'm going to clean finish the edge. There's no waistband for that. So that's what I'm going to do. Then the side seam, now I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch on the side seam. I could use 3/4 of an inch because, or a 1/2 inch. Actually, let's lose 1/2 inch on the side seam. Okay. Okay. So this is what we'll have. And also a 1/2 inch along here, and this is going to be our yoke. So with the yoke, what you'll do, the reason why I folded the paper in two, is because I wanted to give to make sure that when I'm cutting it, I am going to have 2 pieces. Notice, because I folded my paper underneath, sometimes this happens to anyone. So what I'll do here, I'll just turn this over, because I'm missing a bit of paper there for the side seam. I'll just add that. This happens all the time when you're doing pattern making. All right. So I won't have any. Actually, needs to go up some more, just to show you. So let's put this up some more. Yeah, like that. And take the actual tape off when you're doing it. So taking the actual tape off and moving it up some more. There you are. Okay, and you tape on the other side also, just to secure it properly. All right, so this is what we have for our yoke. Okay, and I'm going to cut along here. Let's cut that out. Cut along here. Notice also a little piece is missing from here. It's the Wednesday piece. It's missing from here, not a lot. Okay. All right, and cut here. Now, when I did the pivot, it's showing me here, this is where I had placed my haul. So I'm just going to put a notch right here. Okay, I'm just going to put a notch right here. Okay, and I'm also going to put a notch on the side seam, doesn't matter where. Okay, and a notch on this notch is going to carry on. So just to show you that this is the front. Okay, and the notch there. All right, and this is the side, and the notch there. Now also I'm going to measure here, because I am going to use this measurement to determine how much fabric I need to create my gather. I got 9 1/4 here, so I'm going to write it along here. 9 1/4. Times 2 is going to be 18 1/2 inches going across. All right, and this is the front. So this is, and then you place it, this is the center front, so you need 2 times 2 fabric. So you just write times 2 fabric. Okay, because I like to do my yoke that way. Use it. All right, now let's trace the back and do the same thing for the back. I am going to get, all right, halfway there. So okay, center back, I'm placing it right here. Remember, as I said, I'm doing 6 inches, so I'm doing from this line right here. Okay, and I'm going to trace to the dart opening. I'm going to use my awl, and I am going to pivot just like this, pick it up and continue. Put down my weight on there to hold it down, and I'm going to go to here. I'm going to repeat the same step with the tracing paper. Place it underneath. I'm going to trace the first part. All right. Come to there, and I'm going to reverse my step, put my awl back, pivot, because I should have used traced it out first. Make sure it lines up. Okay, place your tracing paper underneath again, and continue to trace this line that you have here. Okay, remember, as I said, it was about 6 inches that I went below that, and notice you'll have a curve there. You use the curve and straighten that out. Well, make sure this is on a straight line. So what I did, because with my skirt, you can dip from some more if you want. It's up to you. If you want to create a more dramatic look, you can do that. So this is what it is. To get this, it's not the curving too much, so you can do this. Use this one. Okay. All right. Remember, this is the center back. Okay. And because this was already the dart was, I'm going to place another notch about half inch, well, this is like 3/8 of an inch over. I'm going to go up 1 inch, or if you want to start with 3/4 first, go up 3/4, and then you add your 1/4 inch, because it's a self-facing waist. It's not no waistband on this one. You can make one with waistband. It's up to you. And my 1/2 inch along my my side seam for my seam allowance, another 1/2 inch along the hem also. Okay, just like this. And what you'll do now, just like the other one, you know, you find where your dart was, where your awl was, and you put 2 notches there. Okay, and with the side, you are going to line up, use this, the side seam here from the front, and line up to get the notch that you had here. All right, so you fold this into, fold it along this line crease right here, and you will then just simply use the scissors and cut your edge like this. You can put your weight down if you feel more comfortable doing it that way. And you cut along here. All right, and also cut along here. Okay. And fold it up. And make sure you apply your notches. You do your notches here, okay? Because this is just indicating, when you have two notches, is indicating that this is the back part of the pattern. Side seam is just one notch. You don't need to have two because that's the side seam. You can also go ahead and carry this line to the top and just notch here to show you that this is where your stitch line, you're going to stitch right there, your 1/2 inch seam. All right, because it's you need 2 of this, again, times 2 fabric, okay, and you have your grain line. You can use your center back and your center front as your grain line, okay. And I would suggest also put a notch here at the center back and the at both the end of the yoke and towards the waist. Do the same thing for the front. Okay, so you know that's the center, and so it's easier when you are adding or attaching the gathers or for the bottom part of the skirt to it. Is easy to do so. So I already have my measurement here. I need to take my measurement for the back yoke at the hem, or the end of the yoke I should say. This is 9.5. So 9.5 times 2 is going to be 19 inches. So my total there is, I'll come to that. So now I'm going to show you the other method, which is literally I call it the closing the dart, like tracing out everything, closing the dart method, and then just going ahead and creating your own yoke. Okay, so with this, what I just did, I just have this line here. Okay, use that as my guide to place my weight down. I'm going to trace, make sure you have it here. It comes out on the other end, the end of the dart. Okay, you're going to trace along the edge of your sloper. Remember, it doesn't have any seam allowance. Okay, you can use the one with seam allowance, which would be technically a skirt pattern, and then do that. All right, this is my dart here, and I'm tracing out my dart. I have this. Okay, forming my dart. This is my center back. I need to center back. I have 2 options. I can place this on fold and cut it twice, so that's another option I could do also. Or I just get on a piece of bigger paper, you just simply fold it like what I did with the first one. So your choice of what you want to do. I place that on fold there. I'm now going to close my dart. Remember, fullness goes to the center back. All right, I'm going to close my dart. Fullness goes to the center back. Now, before I even do that, to make it easier for when you are actually making it, you can have a line that goes right from the tip of the dart down. So fullness goes to the center back, and I am going to close this dart right here. Okay. All right, I'm going to close my dart right here, and then I'm going to slash open this just to the tip. Slash open that. Okay, so now you have it flat. Then you're going to add your seam allowance. As I said, you can go up 3/4 of it, 3/4 of an inch, and then add your 1/4 inch because there's no waistband. But if you are going to use a waistband for the skirt, you just need to add a 1/2 inch or seam allowance. Okay, that's what you need to do. I'm using 1/2 inch seam allowance for the side side seam allowance also, and for the bottom. All you have to do now with that opening, that spread that you have here, is simply you're going to place a piece of paper underneath, all right, and tape it down. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, place a piece of paper underneath here. Okay, and you're going to do that. So when you're cutting it, now your pattern, actually you can shape it out because it's going to have a little curve in a sense. So you can shape it out a little bit by this, using that. Okay, so you don't have a point, you curve it out. Okay, like that. And you do the same thing all around. So this is the tracing out the entire top portion of the skirt, and then you close in your dart and slash and spread method, all right, of creating a yoke. You can do the same, use the same method for a variety of other skirts you want to make, say like for an A-line skirt. You can do that method, use that method also when you don't want to have a dart. You do the same thing for the front, same method for the front. Now to get the bottom, all right, so once you do the same thing for the front, repeat the same method that I did here for the front pattern, then you're good and you're good to go. Now what I want to say to you is that for this, because I have 19 and I have 19 inches there and 18 and a half, you can round both, say 19 plus 19, one of two ways. If you notice here my skirt, what I did, I had a, there is a side seam here where the zipper opening goes, but on the other side over here doesn't have a side seam. It's just one piece of fabric all in one. You have two options. You can do it like how I did mine, or you can have a side seam here at the other opposite end or opposite side of the skirt. All right, so you can have a side seam, you can have the side seam that you have here for the opening for the zipper, and you can also create one right here, but for me I just did the entire fabric that go the full width. Now for here I have about 12 inches added because my skirt, you know, it's a mini skirt. This is 12 inches right here. I'm going to do my length 12 inches. So for my gather, because I have a total of 38 inches, okay, for my gather, if you are using two separate fabric where both side seams have a a side seam, then you do your 19. You can times it by 2.5. 2.5 is okay. 2.5 to 3 times that for the front piece. So I'm going to do 2.5. So this is going to be 2 is 38 plus I'll say 9. I mean, the 9.5 would be the for accuracy. So that would be 47.5, and then the same thing for the other pieces, 47.5. So I need a piece of fabric 47.5 by 12 inches because that would give me the total length of my skirt. Okay, so I'm getting another piece of paper here, and I have here, let's measure it. Piece of paper I have. Okay, So on this paper I have 38, which is not enough. So what I can do, I can do 2 pieces, which is cut on the fold, because I need 47 inches to cut on the folds. That would be, let's call this 48. Cut on the fold would be 24 inches. Okay, so I need 24 inches out here. All right. So what you're going to do, you use your square rule, right? Now this is the edge that right here. Okay. 24 inches is actually right here. I can now curve this, and I need 12 inches plus. Let's line this up properly. Okay, so I need 12 inches, right, which is here, plus I'm going to turn it over, so I need 1.5 inches a seam allowance, because 3/4 and 3/4 is good enough for the hem. So this is my seam allowance here. So seam allowance, okay. And going across, my seam allowance there. This is the part that you're going to put on the fold. So you can do it where it's going to be on the fold. And this part is going to be on the fold. Alright, and remember I said I'm using 12 inches down. Okay, 12 inches down. This is the 12 inches. And my 1.5 inches for seam allowance. Okay, and I will also use my square rule right here and grab my measurement. That's my hem. Okay, continue. All right. Okay. So this is your side seam, and because this is either the center front, you can use this as a center front or center back. And just simply cut this. You need ×2 fabric, 1 for the center front and 1 for the center back, and this is the part that you're going to be gathering, so you put gathers. Okay, and this is your hem allowance, which is 3/4 inch. When finished is your hem. Your side seam is here. All you have to do now is cut it out. Now just like this, and now one thing I must say to you, because you can cut along here also, or you can just do it when you are cutting out the fabric. Okay, you can go down 2 inches on the side seam, or 3 inches on this side seam here to where your zipper will start, and then give another notch somewhere down there. All right, so this is a pattern where you have 2 side seams. Okay, so just be mindful of that. You have 2 side seams here. This is where the zipper stop. Okay, zipper stop. Okay, and this is your center front. So these are the patterns that you have. Okay, remember I showed you this method where you could have used this, then you need to do the same thing for the front. All right, to get the front, and then you put it on fold, and when you have it on fold is ×1 fabric on fold, right? And then you're going to need another piece again, so for the facing, so literally it's total of ×2 on the fabric. Okay, ×2 on the fold, on fold. Okay, so these are the pattern pieces. When you're laying your pattern out, you know that you're going to use this as your grain. If you're not using the other pattern, this is your grain. You have this on your fold, right? And what I want to say something to you is that when you're making the skirt, and I'm going to show this in another video, where I use the sharing thread here, and where one is, and 2 rows of thread for my gathering, and so when I was attaching it to the skirt, I sew in between the 2 rows to give it a more even dispersing of the gathers, if you notice. Okay, more even disperse of the gathers, and you use these as your guide when you are doing it, because then you put your markers, your quarter markers along here. So all you have to do, fold the paper in 2 like this. All right, that's your so this would be your center front. Okay, you put a notch here, or center back. It will be your center front or center back. So I did say that you could cut this off when you are cutting the fabric out to sew, but because I placed my notch there, I need to cut it away first and then put my mark there. So when you are joining the skirt, you're joining the center front would be right here. Okay, and then what you would have, because it's a quarter, your gathering part is going to be like right here, because don't forget now you need to put a notch right here. Okay, and actually because this is a back, you need 2 notches to demonstrate. All right, so this is what the pattern making is about, and feel free and explore and make yourself a skirt.